So check this out. This is a calendar bank, and it seemed to have been a promotional item that was common, I think, in the 60s and 70s. It came in many different varieties. This particular one is from the Columbus Mutual Life Insurance Company. It tells you onward to new horizons, and it was based in Columbus, Ohio. It is a bank and a calendar. I got mine at a thrift store, and I got it for 25 cents. The formal name for this is an all-coin calendar bank. It is from the Gerett Company, based in Milwaukee. Here's a couple of examples of ones you can currently find on eBay. Again, many are very similar in style. There's a couple that are a bit different. Some are fun. I'm sweet on savings. But these are all kind of neat. It encourages you to save while keeping track of the days. So at the end of the day on the 29th, I put a penny in, and it turns to the 30th. The 30th is done, so I will put a nickel in, and it's New Year's Eve. I wake up the next morning, hopefully I feel good, and so I need to change to the 1st, and I'm gonna have to put this in the month slot to change it to January. When I'm ready to remove my money, I need a key like this. This is not the original key, but it works. And all I have to do is put it in the slot in the back, turn it, and pull. 41 cents, I think back then, would be at least a candy bar. The locking mechanism uses these two little silver bars. I have the key in there, you can see it in the middle, and I push that little silver bar. Without the key in there, the bars will hang tight on this. But when I put a key in there, I will push those bars aside, letting me take this off. This also has a conscience slot. Not sure what that means. I don't know if you're feeling guilty you put it in there. So I was curious how this thing worked. You get some sense of the coin is pushing through here and making something turn inside. So if I start putting a coin in here, you can see it's coming through, and these things spread apart. And those things spread apart every time I put a coin in, which then makes the date turn. How that works, I'm not sure. I really like to see the mechanism inside. This metal piece that covers up the gears or whatever's inside is held in place by these plastic rivets, but I'm gonna have to kind of drill those things out so I can get to see what's underneath. In general, I don't like to take apart or damage vintage things like this. I actually love the color on this, and I think it's really cool. If you look on eBay, it is not worth a ton. Only a few exceptions, like this Beatles one. These are not worth a ton of money. As you go through here, you can see, again, some unique ones, some different ones, but here's one that's less than 30 plus shipping, 18 or less, 20, 17, 9. So again, in general, you're not getting a lot of money for these, and it's not something that I'm going to necessarily keep. For me, and I guess for the few people who would be interested in knowing how this works, I am going to drill that out and see what we find inside. So what is the mystery of how this bank works? Use the drill to get rid of those plastic rivet heads. Hopefully now I can just lift this metal piece out. So I do have it loose. All right, so, ooh, look at that. Okay, so what does that tell me? Here you can see that the bank is displaying September 28th. If you put the penny in, you'd be forcing these pieces apart, and if you watch, this goes and grabs the next number, 29th, 30th. So again, this piece here is going and grabbing the next little piece, sawtooth kind of thing, and pulling it. This one doesn't seem to do too much. On this side, you need both of them, but this one, it seems like as long as you engage this one, you are moving day to day. And again, the idea is you're putting the coin in here and pushing that and pulling it over. Interestingly enough, with the month, if you just do this one, it won't reach all the way to the next month. So what happens is this side is going to push a little bit, which puts this in reach so that it can now pull the next month. So this one pushes, this one reaches and pulls. So now we're on November. For this side, you seem to have both. For this one, you can get away with just the one. A little bit of a close-up. It's a satisfying click, isn't it? You can actually get in with a screwdriver and just pop this top piece off. This is just a plastic sheet with some printing on it, and this is, again, special kind of paper. Be interesting to try to customize this to have a sheet like this and possibly print on it, which I don't know how to do, and then cut a sheet pretty cleanly for the backing. It'd be kind of neat. Kind of reassembled it. It actually works fine without those plastic rivets. The only real issue is if you opened it up, this has the potential to fall out. If I put in a coin when it was vertical, you're going to see it's just going to push that piece out. I'm going to try to reassemble it using these screws. Like any good man, I have random buckets of screws, bolts, washers, and things like that. I'm using 2 washers. One should keep it from loosening. Part of it is because I don't want it to actually hit this and damage it. The screws went in and stayed in. They feel pretty snug. So let me give it a test. It is holding up to a vertical test. When I put it in, nothing moves. I've done it, a dozen times or so, and it's held up. It doesn't seem to be loosening at all. And there was no damage to the front here. But obviously, again, you're doing this, 365 times a year. So whether it would hold up to that is questionable, but at least I got it back together. I don't like hurting old things. Maybe I'm just projecting. Thanks for watching. It was fun exploring the altcoin bank and figuring out what makes it tick. Please consider subscribing or at least a thumbs up. Remember, a thumbs up never hurt nobody.